The Bengals made a huge decision this week, how it impacts their defense, and if it's the key to unlocking championship level play for Al Golden's unit. Let's break it all down right now on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. Hi again, everyone, and welcome into CBT. I'm James Rapien of BengalsTalk.com. Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, join the 55 double nickel thousand plus Bengals fans that have already subscribed on YouTube. And be sure to check us out wherever you get your podcast, whether it's Apple, whether it's Spotify, whether it's Amazon, and leave us a 5-star review in the process. That helps build up the audio side. And if you missed it, we put every single NFL draft conference call on the audio side. So that's something you're only going to get on our audio. So check it out at Cincinnati Bengals Talk by searching CBT wherever you get your podcasts. Today's video, by the way, brought to you by BetUS TV. Let's dive in to Dax Hill. The Bengals, well, they exercised Dax Hill's fifth-year option, and it's $12.7 million. And I got to be honest, I was a bit surprised. I was a bit surprised because you have a guy that I know that they believe in, that I certainly believe in. I think I've been as bullish on Dax Hill as probably anyone that isn't inside of Paycor Stadium or related to Dax Hill since they drafted him in 2022. And yet, I looked at it and I was like, well, if you're picking up his fifth-year option, maybe you just sign him to an extension. And maybe that's exactly what the Bengals do at some point. But what this signals to me is, and it just shows you how the word alignment is so important. We've heard Al Golden use alignment. We've heard Zach Taylor use the word alignment. We've heard Duke Tobin use the word alignment. What does it mean? Well, it means that the Bengals clearly weren't aligned when it came to Dax Hill during the Lou and Arumo era. That's what it means. It's confirmation of that. No one's come out and said that privately or publicly, to my knowledge, as far as calling Lou out. But I can call Lou out because clearly that's what the case is here. Maybe he was right. Maybe they're right. That's what time is going to tell. But the front office, the current coaching staff, everyone seems on board with this. Any door I knock on to get information, it's like, oh yeah, Dax Hill's the man. Dax Hill is going to matter. Dax Hill's, and it makes sense. That's why I was so high on the pick. But when they took him in 2022, I was like, wait a second. You're adding a guy that can do everything and is a freaky athletic guy that can play outside corner, that can play nickel, that can play safety for you, that can man up on tight ends. You're adding that guy to a defense that has Jesse Bates and Von Bell, that has Trey Hendrickson, that has DJ Reader, that has Logan Wilson and Jermaine Pratt. Like that's how it felt then. And they didn't use him. Trey Flowers played more snaps on defense than Dax Hill did as a rookie. Can't happen. Those are the type of things when you take a guy with any first-round pick, but even if it's the 31st overall pick, you better have a plan for him to get him on the field, to get him used to life in the NFL. And the Bengals didn't. They didn't align there. And I know mid-year of Dax's rookie year, I think there was some questions. Hey, Lou, why aren't you playing Dax more? Why aren't you playing our first-round pick? And he was like, I trust my vets. I'm not taking Vaughn off the field or Jesse off the field. And in reality, he didn't need to. In reality, he still could have found a way to get Dax on the field because he's that versatile. And I think that's what the Bengals are telling you here. And I'll get into more into what I think is going to happen with Dax, but from a how they use him standpoint this year. But they're going to use him. They think he's a building block. He's 24 years old, and I totally agree. He's someone you can build around. Now, does that mean he's a 5-time All-Pro? I'm not going to say that, but he's a freaky talent that has the ability right now to not only start on defense, but be a big part of your defense. The Bengals shouldn't be in the business of letting guys like that go. I think we can all agree there. If they feel that way about Dax, they shouldn't be in the business of letting him go. So picking up his fifth-year option worth $12.7 million, I think it makes sense. I think it's a good decision overall, and I think what it's going to do is lead to a long-term extension, which is what I would be leaning toward, period, anyways, when it comes to Dax Hill. And maybe that's this offseason or next offseason, but at some point, I think that they do get a long-term deal done, and probably it's next offseason. But what does that mean for Dax? Where is he going to play? Is he going to play inside? Does this money mean that he's definitely going to be a boundary corner? Let's break it all down. We'll do that coming up next. Today's video is brought to you by BetUS TV. BetUS TV is a one-stop shop for all of the sports analysis, whether it's the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs, Major League Baseball. You come to Cincinnati Bengals talk for what? For Bengals news, for Bengals coverage, for Bengals insight, like Chris Sims the other day, who was awesome. Shout out to Chris Sims at NBC Sports for coming on again, and make sure you check out that Sims on Button podcast. But that's why you go to BetUS TV. You go there so you can get analysis on NBA, analysis on Major League Baseball, analysis on all of the things that you are looking for. It's been awesome to be partnered with BetUS TV. So check them out. Don't delay. Get to BetUS TV today. Dax Hill starting, book it. Not only do I expect Dax Hill to start this year, I would expect him to be a weapon for the Bengals. I think that they are going to unlock him and use him in a bunch of different ways, and they should. They should. You could argue, and honestly, I think it's a pretty reasonable argument. And this does say something about the state of where the Bengals established players are. But you could argue that he's their best safety, their best outside corner, and their best nickel corner. Their best option against tight ends. Just overall, like if you really wanted to argue it, and I'm not going to because there's no one arguing back, you could. Best safety, best outside corner, best nickel corner, best one-on-one versus tight ends. And so what should the Bengals do? Sometimes it's that easy. When you got a guy that can do all of those things, use him all over. That's what I think the Bengals are going to do. I think they're going to use him in a bunch of different ways. I like the idea of Dax Hill as a blitzer. I like the idea of Dax Hill in one-on-one coverage. I like the idea of Dax Hill in the nickel. I like him as this weapon that, yeah, is probably going to play outside a significant amount because he's your best boundary corner. But that doesn't mean he can't play in the nickel. He can't man up on tight ends. He can't blitz. He can do all of those things. And so if the Bengals want to maximize what they are as a defense, if they want to maximize what they are in the secondary, maybe they should use their best guy in the best ways. And I think the best ways, the way to maximize what they have talent-wise is still probably to find a way to get DJ Turner and Cam Taylor-Britt on the field significant playing time. And if you do that, then you kick Dax in the nickel at times. You put Dax one-on-one versus a tight end at times. You do things like that. And you let him do his thing. As far as his injury is concerned, I think everything's progressing well. I think he's feeling good. He certainly is someone that he's just smooth with everything. I mean, he's very, it doesn't seem to get too overwhelmed. I don't think a lot of players would have been able to handle everything that went on with Jesse and Vaughn here and him being the starting free safety until Jesse gets into camp. And then boom, that's it. He just kind of bumped and in the doghouse for a bit. And then he has to play cornerback a little bit as a rookie. And then he moves to safety full time in his second year and starts off really well at safety. And then things kind of go haywire down the stretch. Lou Anarumo clearly unhappy with Dax Hill. And then he moves to corner and dominates at corner, plays really, really well against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the preseason game, 3 pass breakups. And suddenly it's like, oh, well, he's our best boundary corner. We got to get him out there. Plays 5 games, suffers a torn ACL. Like he's mentally strong because throughout that process, there's never been a time that I've noticed doubt on his face. Even talking to him at his locker, and I've built a pretty good rapport with him. Talking with him at his locker, never lost confidence or anything like that. And I think that's hard to do. And there's been many, many, many successful Bengals players that got off to slower starts for one reason or another, whether it's their fault or not, in their career, and then they take off. And that's what the Bengals coaching staff and front office is saying now is Dax Hill is a star. Dax Hill is a high-end player. He's a building block of our defense. We picked up his 5th-year option because we know we got this pick right. We know he's got the talent and the ability, and he's going to go do it now with this new regime. Will it happen? We'll see. But I like the bet. I like the all right, we know what Dax can bring. We've seen him day in and day out. We've seen his work ethic, and it's going to come all together. It's going to go completely in the other direction, in a great direction, now that he's going to be healthy and ready to go. And if that's the case, maybe the Bengals have a building block on defense. And then one of these young pass rushers or 2 of these young pass rushers step up and you could be feeling a lot different about this Bengals defense in a hurry. The Bengals have invested a ton of draft capital in their defense. It's one of those things that's so intriguing to me is when people are like, oh, well, yeah, the Bengals, they got to fix their defense. Like, yeah, they've been trying. They've been trying. And Dax Hill was certainly part of the solution in their minds when they picked him in the first round. Boy, oh boy, over 3 years ago now. And so we'll see if Dax Hill and really this entire defense can figure it out. But regardless, we're going to have you covered right here on CBT. Make sure you check out our interview with Chris Sims. Check out Enter the Jungle this week. Our draft grades posted this week as well. Can't believe it. The draft already over a week in the books since Shamar Stewart became a Bengal. Chris Sims was great on Shamar, so check that out. And for Andrew Fox-Meller, I'm James Rapien. This video was brought to you by BetUS TV. Thank you so much for watching and listening to Cincinnati Bengals Talk.